And welcome to Atlantic Television Network. This is Atlantic Blowout, and this is a syndicated live program of the network that features chit-chatting and conversations on special interest topics on news, events, and stories through correspondence reports, expert opinion, and stakeholders analysis. A quick look at the topics we'll be looking at today. This one's taken from Southeast, where it states that Regions Governors Forum opposed to protest, a statement by Uzodinma. And from Kogi State, Governor vows to win battle against criminals. In fact, he said they are already winning the battle against criminals. And the next story on presidency, Tinubu signs bills to establish development commissions. And then on economy, Nigeria ready to overtake global fiscal system, a statement by Shatima. On Instagram, 63,000 Nigerians lose their accounts over scam. And on foreign investment, Gabon's president invites Dangote for investment talks. We'll take some time off, and when we return, we'll let you know who our guests are, and then we'll delve straight into the stories. Please stay right here with us.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
you human trafficker.
Honorable they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
along the line, across the ocean, to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara. We bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions, politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Welcome back. I have my guest with me in the studio. With me on my right is Mufasa Musan. He is a public affairs analyst, amongst many other things. Good morning, Mufasa.
Yeah, good morning, Eni, and good morning to our viewers at home. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And I have on my left, right? Okay. I have on my left Ambassador Ekie C. Ekie, the man whose name makes me smile.
A
Good
pleasure
morning.
again.
You know why your name makes me smile? Because I remember your analysis whenever I remember your name. Good morning and welcome to ATN Blowout.
My pleasure, always been here. Good
All
morning.
right, good to have you both. Now let's look at the stories that we have with us. To take this one from the Southeast Governors Forum desk, they have expressed opposition to the planned nationwide protest from 1st of August, and they have cited concerns about the fragile political environment and also the potential hijacking by criminal elements. The chairman of the forum, Governor Hope Uzodimma of Imo State, stated the position of the governors from the region on Wednesday at the State House in Abuja after leading meeting with President Bola Tinubu along with the governor of Ebonyi State and then the former president of the Senate, who recently defected to the ruling All Progressives. Okay, that's fine. Alright, now Uzodimma acknowledged that protests are allowed in a democratic setting, but he emphasized the need for reasonable conception and clear objectives, questioning the motives behind the protest, as organizers have not publicly disclosed their reasons. The governor warned that protests could worsen the economic hardship caused by the global recession and advised against overheating the polity. He urged protesters to engage with the government to address the significant issues rather than resorting to demonstrations. Now, in one breath, you said that the leaders of the protests have not told us what the reasons for the protests are. Now you're saying let's embrace dialogue so that we can handle these pressing issues. That already shows that you are making reference to some pressing issues as the reason. So I find that's like saying two things at the same time. But let's get your thoughts on this story, Mufasa.
Like you rightly observed, you see, these people, they've always contradicted themselves. I'm not aware of any protest that government has actually supported the agitations of the people, if my memory serves me right. There's never been a time that citizens who have been, shortchanged, who have been balkanized, who feel agitated, and they want to come out to ventilate their concerns, that any government, whether be it at the center or at the state level, have ever come out to say that we allow you to protest, we're in support of your protest, just go about your protest. They've never done so. So for me, this is not a surprise. But then again, when the governor of Imo State, when he begin to use words like the other means to engage the government, you're not aware of what the reasons for protest are and all of that, it goes to show how insensitive these so-called leaders are to the plight of the people. Before now, people have been complaining of how difficult, how hard, how terrible the state of affairs of the economy is, how terrible people could hardly, fend for themselves and all of that. So if he's coming to tell us today that, he's not aware, that means I don't know what else to describe the kind of characters we have in government. You spank a child, and at the same time you are telling that child not to cry. That is the height of injustice. I'm also aware that according to one of the laws of motion by Isaac Newton, that for every action you should expect an equal and opposite reaction. So if the people felt that enough is enough, I mean, we've done all that is necessary in terms of trying to bring to the notice of the government through other means, through the social media, conventional media, to say that we can no longer fend for ourselves. There is serious hunger and starvation in the land. People could no longer send their wards to school. Families are living in abject state of squalor, and this has been on for quite some time. And governments, to the best of my knowledge, they've not done anything meaningful other than sharing a palliative to God knows who and who gets it. What people are saying that we cannot buy petrol, we cannot buy staple food in the market. And if a government that is serious in, providing solution, to take us out of the woods, you will see concrete, deliberate, intentional, moves in place that the people will know that this government is serious, in making life better for the people. But what we see is, them running around in circles. They keep spending money on themselves, spending money on private jets and all of that. And the people, you expect them to just sit down and watch you, feed fat on their commonwealth, and they won't say anything. No. You can't do that. You can't continue to, to subjugate the people. It won't work. So for me, I'm not calling anybody to protest. What I'm only saying is that the governments and the governors of the Southeast who have gone to see the president, I'm sure they won't say, I'm not surprised they didn't say anything short of what they have said. And that position does not reflect the position of the people. They should come out and tell us how they went to the streets of the Southeast and sample opinion of the ordinary Nigerians who are suffering, and they say that, they are okay with the state of affairs and they won't come out for a protest. So for me, what they've come out to say is just their own, ways of trying to, mesmerize the people further.
All right, let's get your thoughts, Ambassador Okie.
Well, I want to thank the Southeast governors for realizing that there is a signal for a national protest. Because the worst thing that will happen to a man is when you pretend as if nothing is happening or will happen, whereas you already are aware. So I think it's a good, responsive reaction from the governors of the Southeast. Now, in as much as I appreciate that protest is part of democracy, like the governor of Imo State reiterated, looking at the memory lane, protest has never really helped us as a nation, because leaders are not leaders who are very much respectful to protest in Nigeria. I would like to state clearly, one, like my brother have said, the protests in quote that we have seen over the media is called or tagged hardship protests. Hardship protests. And sincerely, are things not hard and difficult in Nigeria? The answer is yes. Are we not suffering? Yes. Are things not difficult with us? Yes. The price of commodities are high. We can't really afford our meals. We can't pay our bills. But recently, we saw that our leaders, starting from the National Assembly, have cut down their salary to 50%. There are some intentional decisions that government have made to see that at least they are making effort to ensure that things get better. Like I requested and pleaded the last time I was here, that hence they've tried to adjust, because part of our agitation or advocacy has been, can our leaders also pay the uttermost price of sacrifice by reducing the cost of governance, by also sacrificing what they have for the common man. Not all the time the common man is sacrificing.
Well, let's look at the steps that you said that the government has taken to make sure that things get better. How much or how effective do you think those steps that you think they have taken to make things better would be at this time?
You see, part of what is making us as Nigerians not to believe government is because we have not seen their actions, their words match with actions. So for the very first time that our National Assembly members, our leaders will say, let us reduce our salary, I think is an open action that they have demonstrated. Now, we already found ourselves in an insecure environment as a nation. For instance, in the Southeast, using it as a case study because of our discussion this morning, they are already embattled with criminality. They are already embattled with insecurity. So having a legitimate, day of protest, of agitation in the Southeast, the governors are afraid that it may not really serve the purpose of that protest.
So you think this is a statement of fear by the governor?
He spoke on behalf of the Southeast governors.
Yes. So you think
now,
this is a statement of fear from the forum?
No, you see, first of all, he has alleged that the organizers of the protests have not come up clearly with the intent or the purpose of that protest. And I said that what we have seen over the media, social media, that the oncoming protest, if it will hold, is tagged, what did I call it again? Hardship protest. So it is clear. So I want to inform the governor of Imo State that the protest is called hardship protest. Now, let me also come in. Okay. Part of why we have challenges in this country, and that is why we are retrogressing most times. Those who walk around the governors, those who walk around our leaders, most times because they despise leaders who wants to see our governors, our president, our National Assembly members, our senators, because they don't even give you the opportunity to have access to them as a leader. For instance, I lead a very large group across the country. But it will shock you to know that if I want to see the governor of Imo State, because I'm not leading a violent group, I can tell you for free that they will not even either take my mail to the governor, nor will the governor even take it as a serious issue that...
Have you experienced that before?
I'm a leader, I know what I'm saying. If I want to see the Senate president right now, it may not be very easy. If I want to see the president of Nigeria, it may not be very easy. But if the government hears that, if I want to see the governor of Rivers State, I will not see him easily. Even a commissioner in Rivers State, it may not be very easy. But if they hear that I have 10 AK-47 and I want to see the president of Nigeria, I want to see the governor, I can tell you for free that they will orchestrate a meeting for me to meet the governor.
So what point?
So what I'm trying to establish is that our current leaders have killed, civil society groups. They no longer have regard and value for civil society. And that is why we are where we are today. Now he is asking for dialogue. Dialogue with people that you will not want to see, dialogue with people that you don't want to have access to. So I want to call that if actually they are serious with Nigerians, very many Nigerians are represented by different social and civil society groups and pressure groups. So I think that in each of the states, see how you can organize a town hall meeting. See how you can orchestrate a meeting with civil society groups so that you can hear their feelings. Yeah, so that they can also make some suggestions.
All right. We'll get to the suggestions and how this should be played out. But I'm looking at the protest now and the statement by the president saying, don't worry, this is, like some papers put it, it's a family matter. We are already handling it. There's no need for you to go out there and protest. And then some state governors already saying nobody in this state is protesting, begging pleading with their youths not to join the protest. A lot of state governors have been pleading with their youths not to join the protest. And talks here and there saying don't join the protest. The statement about the fact that these youths who are going to protest are going to face the worst opposition ever. That statement was also made. Now, back to the steps that you said have been taken to cushion the effect of the hardship on the people, which could be something that these youths should look at and then maybe have a rethink on the protest. That's where I want us to talk about now. You mentioned already, I think you talked about one of the steps, okay, the slashing of the salary. Are there other ones you would like to point at?
Yes, of a recent, again, I understand, Mr. President, that approved another business loan for entrepreneurs. And these are part of what we are advocating for, saying that sharing of food, rice is not the solution we need right now.
But you agree that that's one of the steps that the
yes, it's a good step.
Has taken.
It's a good step.
Then the business loan, then slashing of the salaries.
Is a good step.
Okay, so
the student loan is also a good one. Okay. Now the National Assembly have also set up a committee to look into the issue of the crude challenge that Dangote is having and other refineries. I think this is because the issue of subsidy is a major burner issue that is affecting our economy.
Okay, so let me find out from Mufasa now. Now listening to the steps that have the Ambassador Ike has mentioned that the government has taken. What would you say about that? What do you think? How effective do you think these steps would be?
Well, for me, I have not really seen any concrete steps taken by this government.
Even with all of these.
No, what we hear is, the usual rhetorics, that governments, give to Nigerians. I'm not satisfied with whatever they think they are doing. I know. Can you please listen to me, ma'am?
Go on.
Now, we've had series of all this kind of fire brigade approach. Now, we are tired. Nigerians are tired. Let us not, keep deceiving ourselves. We've had this kind of, talks that they talk. We are here to see actionable plans. When you begin to give out palliative to people that you don't even know, because what is the demographic template? How do you arrive at the people you are giving out this? You just end up giving empowerment to people who already have, whether they have not are suffering. Any kind of negotiation, any kind of method, any kind of meetings they're having that does not translate to a reduction in the price of PMS, for me, becomes counterproductive. Because whether we like it or not, everything revolves around petrol in this country. You are giving out loans to people, to entrepreneurs, and the business environment is not conducive. Are you not going back to where you started from? That is the truth. We don't have security in this country. Farmers can't go to their farm. Telling people to go to farm, and you can't access your farmlands. How do you reconcile that? Any business you do in this country, because we have a serious deficit in power. So you must rely on diesel power plants or the normal generator that we use to power businesses. And you are buying fuel at the rate of 850 naira, you are buying fuel at the rate of 900, you are buying fuel at the rate of 1,000 naira. Then your operating cost now surpasses what you're expected to get as profits. So how do you begin to reconcile that? Any kind of negotiation, any kind of meetings, emergency they're having that does not translate to a drastic reduction in the price, I don't know how they want to do it, because this government had more than 365 days to fix our refineries, and we keep hearing 2 weeks and 2 weeks and 2 weeks. It becomes a 2 weeks of eternity.
We've heard before the end of this year.
We've heard several before the end. Last year, they told us before the end of last year. From there, they now went to February. From there, they told us 2 weeks, and it has been 2 weeks of unending tragedy. So, for me, this government has not shown sincerity, and the people have lost confidence in government. Look at what they are doing to, to Dangote. I'm not saying Dangote is a saint, but a refinery that was commissioned by the former president, giving us the impression, because for it to have gone to commission something, it shows that the thing is almost ready for operation. Whether we like it or not, government is a continuum. And when this government came into office, they didn't tell us that that refinery has not even got it to 70% completion. Now the man has struggled to complete that refinery, and look at the kind of dragging that we're having. And you expect Nigerians to sit down and watch these people keep telling us the same old stories? It can never work. Now my colleague here, the ambassador, is telling that they said they slashed their salaries. Is the salary compared to what they get as allowances? Look at these are the things they keep deceiving us. And for me, it's not like Nigerians are no longer buying it, because when you say you slash your salary by 50%, how much is the salary of a senator in this country? Then how much do they get as allowances? Both sitting allowances, both travel allowances, wardrobe allowances, medical allowance. We virtually pay for everything that they have. We are paying for them. Because whatever they're enjoying, they get from the coffers of this country, and it's our collective, it's our commonwealth. They are not supposed to be feeding fat, while we are here suffering and dying of hunger and starvation.
But we have been pointing at the lawmakers' salary all this while. Even when we talked about the minimum wage, the fingers were pointed at the lawmakers' salary. Why are the lawmakers earning that? And now the lawmakers slash their salary.
Now, to be fair with Nigerians, we are not just talking about salaries. We're talking about the take-home of the average lawmaker in this country. Your take-home has comprised of your allowances and all of those things. What they get as constituency projects, billions. Some of them are getting almost what a state gets as allocation. The other day, Senator Ned Wogo came out to tell us that what he gets as a constituent allowance is almost ₦1 billion. And there are some states whose monthly allocation is about 6 billion. And that money they get as constituent allowance, they don't even translate. Many of them, like what he rightly said, you can't even assess them. You can assess them. And we claim we are operating a democracy, and democracy is about the people. If good people fail to speak against injustice, it becomes, it translates into a chaotic situation. And that is what they keep telling us. Oh, you people be patient, you make sacrifices, and they're not making sacrifices. For me, like I've said before, I will not, as an individual, call for anarchy. I don't even have the capacity to begin to lure people to come out to protest. But if the Nigerian people have decided that enough is enough, and they have every right guaranteed by the Constitution to protest, they should be allowed to do so. No governor should come out to begin to say that trying to extrapolate what has happened in the previous NSAS and all of that. Those are insignificant.
It's insignificant that we lost people.
Listen to me. Listen to me. It happens everywhere. Currently, there's a protest in France. There's a protest in Bangladesh. There's a protest in Pakistan. It is something that
doesn't make it normal.
It is normal now. Is protest abnormal?
No. What I'm trying to say is the peaceful protest now. We want to embark on a peaceful protest. But these governors are saying a lot of times when we embark on a peaceful protest, what happens at the end of the day is that it is usually hijacked. And you can trace it back to previous protests that we have had.
So why allow it to get to this level? What is so difficult for our government to fix our refineries? I leave that question for...
But let's look at the FCT minister now, Yosemite, who has said that this could be political. And you know that this is not the first time we're hearing that. A lot of steps that are supposed to that people want to take in Nigeria, people are already looking at it like, could there be a political undertone to this? Do you also feel like there's some political undertone to this protest?
Well, in a political environment, everything has to be considered politically and otherwise. So if the FCT minister have alleged that this protest could be political or is political, it's possible. Because we have also seen where a former presidential candidate is saying that he will be part of the hardship protest. Now, I've not also heard him say that this is my submission or suggestions to this government. Now, I also faltered last time I was here. I said most of the presidential candidates that had something, ideologies and concepts when they were aspiring or contesting for this race, that I expected that the president will run a kind of unity government where most of these presidential candidates can be brought, on board for them to contribute their own wealth of experience.
You say you've not heard him contribute that. I want to know, which of the candidates are you talking about?
Well, I don't want to stay here and mention them. Now, my point here remains, the government of Nigeria should not be a winner-take-all. It should be a government for the people. Yes, protest is a good thing, but there are several ways you can protest. You can protest in writing. You mustn't come out, and do a kind of a march past or coming out physically. You can protest through the media. There are different ways you can express your protest. Because we are already in an unsafe environment, our insecurity rate is very, very high. And that's why people are saying it's not the best time to protest. But the big question I want to ask those of us who want to protest, because it's not all Nigerians that want to protest, how safe is this protest going to be managed? Are you guaranteeing Nigerians? Because if you come out and protest and my business is affected, I'm not part of I'm not in government, and then you come and loot my small business, and you come and burn down my facility in the name of protest, entering the common man shops to loot, because that's what we see most times. The people who are the cause of your problem are not affected in any way. The government houses are not burnt down. The state assembly are not burnt down. The judges' quarter are not affected. The people who are affected is same common man who is suffering what you are suffering. Because those facilities of government will be well and heavily protected. So I like to say that if you are calling for protest, let the protest be civil. But if the government are saying no protests in the states, no protests in the country, I also like you to be very brave enough and ensure that if you are arrested or if you are killed, if you have a family, there should be resources for your wife and children to continue. And I also like to say that if you are organizing a protest, be sure that you will keep a strong legal team in case any of the protesters are arrested or detained, because we saw what happened in the last NSAS protest. Now, the big question on the NSAS protest is, I will always ask, what was the achievement of that NSAS protest? Because what the government only did, the police authority only changed the unit of that SAS to another unit. And the police officers were not discharged from service. So if you now say you want to go and say NSAS, NSAS, I kept telling our young people, the NSAS wasn't a success, as to the best of my knowledge. Because what the police only did was to change the unit of that police, the SAS, the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, to another different unit. So I'd like to say that now that the governors have come out to appeal, now that Mr. President have said, let us be patient. Patience can never, ever, be forever. Dialogue, like the Imo State governor has called for, dialogue. It has been the best principle of resolving any matter. But I'd like to say that our dialogue process should not be seen as cowardice. Because most times that's what our leaders feel. When people say, okay, let us dialogue, at the end of the day, they are being seen as weaklers. So I like to say that if you truly and sincerely you are asking for dialogue, the dialogue should be on a very sincere note. So I'd like to call each of the state governors, Mr. President, to see how you rally around stakeholders, civil society groups, pressure groups, and see how you can have a town hall meeting for them to express their feelings, for them to make up suggestions and recommendations. You can't know it all. Sometimes you engage some people who have appointment in this country and you discover that they are empty brain. It looks as if they are just stooge who are given political patronage, because of political reward of their commitment during the elections or thereabout. So we have leaders who have empty brain in position. So such kind of leaders, how can they salvage us in this economic backwardness? So I think the opinions of Nigerians should be created for them to express themselves in a very official mood. Like I said, to see a governor right now is very difficult. It's a prayer point.
All right, you can say that we have leaders who are not doing enough or who are not doing what the people expect them to do. But saying a human being has an empty brain is something that should be taken back. But let's get your thoughts, Mufasa, on some of the comments that Ambassador Ike has mentioned. He talked about dialogue. He also talked about other ways of protest, other safer ways of protest, and he also made mention of what could be the guarantee that there will be security, enough security to protect these protesters.
I think he has spoken well, and for me, I've always maintained that even in struggle, because I'm an activist, I know that we have what they call the 3 C's of struggle. You have the consultation stage. If that fails, you move to the consolidation stage, and if that fails, you now move to confrontations. And these are stages that takes time. It doesn't just happen spontaneously. For me, in as much as I know that protest in itself is not a bad thing, even this current president that we have seated today in Aso Rock led a protest in 2012 against the then President Goodluck Jonathan. And we saw how the entire nation was agog. This same president who is coming to tell Nigerians to relax, that they are working on the matter, they're on top of the matter, this and not what's not. How long all this while he did not deem it necessary to address this issue before he allowed it to get to this level that it is today? I have said it before and I'll say it again, that if you push a man to the wall, you cannot predict what could be his outcome. And that is the fate of Nigerians today. But like you rightly said, there can never be an ending to dialogue. But protest is also another form of engagement. If the government does not want to understand what it means to consult and consolidate, perhaps protest will be what they will understand.
Different types of protests. He talked about the use of social media to protest, instead of, according to him, lining up and marching.
No, but of course, the Nigerians have been doing that. Ever since the inception of this government, Nigerians have been on social media. They've been of traditional, conventional media to cry, to call on government to be alive to their responsibility. It is a social contract, for crying out loud. You are there because we want you to be there. I don't want to go into how they manage to be there, but it is a social contract. The power of government cannot be bigger than the power of the people. Because without the people, there can never be government. Even in the military era where they suppress the will of the people, people still come out to protest. How much more in a democratic setting? So for me, talking about writing and all of that, like I've said before, this same president that we have today led a protest in 2012. So how come protest has now become a bad thing? That you are scared that people will hijack it? There's never a time that government has not come out with this kind of flimsy excuses. They should do the right thing.
Okay, so what do we expect to see now? Let's assume the youths finally go on this protest. What do we expect to be on ground? What do we expect from the government to ensure that all of these fears of these governors that have been mentioned and the previous protests that has been referred to, you know, those scenarios do not repeat themselves? What do we expect?
First of all, if you cannot guarantee the sincerity, a peaceful protest that will not lead to criminality, then it's a wonderful thing to do, a street protest.
If who cannot guarantee now?
The initiators of these protests,
the Nigerian youth.
It's not all Nigerian youths. When we say Nigerian youth,
a lot of Nigerian youth.
When you say a lot, I know what I'm saying. It's not all Nigerian youth that are saying we must go to the street.
Nobody said all.
Good. So that's what I'm saying, that those who are in support of going out to the streets to protest, if you can guarantee that there will be no criminality in this protest.
So you're asking the people to guarantee there will be no crimente. What happens to the security of
exactly.
No. What I'm trying to say is that the people who goes out to perpetrate this criminality in cause of the protest are the same set of people who join the protesters and then they begin to loot. So you cannot be saying that you want to correct something and you are still destroying something. I'm not against everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I'm only saying that you cannot say you want to protest, then I will be your victim. The same me that is crying the same thing you are crying. You now go to market, you go to shops and begin to loot. So if you are guaranteeing that the common man will not be a victim, you go ahead.
Are you saying the government doesn't have, we're not expecting anything?
You see,
from the government
those
here?
protests that criminality, entered, is as a result of it's not the government who went and looted. You cannot be telling me that the police should make sure that you do not loot. So it means that you are already a criminal and then you just wanted a safe opportunity to perpetrate your criminality.
We have different sets of people in the society, different kinds of people in the society. And that is why even the times when we have said, oh, this protest is going to be peaceful, even during the NSAS where everybody wanted it to be, a lot of people wanted it to be peaceful, we still had those hoodlums who came in and hijacked
That's what government is now saying. So if you are an organizer of a protest, ensure that hoodlums do not hijack it. You cannot create problem for people because of what you want to achieve. What I'm trying to get me right to, don't create problem for the Nigerian police when you want to solve a problem. So the problem you want to solve should be seen as a problem solved.
Okay, so let's look at the law now and the fact that we're in a democratic society. And according to the law, protest is the right of the citizens. So, Mufasa.
What I know and what is in our laws is that whenever there's a protest, it is this responsibility, emphasis on responsibility. It is the responsibility of the Nigerian police and other security agencies to guarantee the safety of protesters who are Nigerians. Nigeria is not the only country that people are, agitated. I just mentioned France. France is in Europe. We've had protests in America. In 2012, if President Jonathan has said that nobody should come out and that hoodlum will hijack the protest, with this current president, would he have sat down to say that? No, they would have said the president decided to suppress the will of the people. Whatsoever that is good for this good is good for the gander. If the police cannot ensure the safety of Nigerians, then I don't see why they should be called the Nigerian police. It's not in my position to say it is the responsibility of the police. Like I've said before, for the government to have allowed this state of affairs to get to this level, that a vast majority of Nigerians are complaining bitterly. You can go to the streets of this country and sample opinion.
But you don't think this is political?
How can it be political? How can it be political that I cannot go to the petrol station even with my 850 naira? I could even hardly see fuel. What kind of leaders do we have in this country? When this president came into power and he said that the subsidy is gone, we thought he had plans for Nigerians. This is almost a year and none of our refineries is working. You're telling Nigerians to sit down, and you keep telling them to say whole stories. Oh, sit down. We are addressing your issues. We are giving out grains. We are giving out corns. We are giving out banana. Is that the solution to our problems? That farmers cannot go to their farmland to farm and harvest products that they can sell to Nigerians. That our roads are bad. That parents cannot pay their children's school fees. What are you telling me? That Nigerians should sit there and say, okay, you don't want people to hijack protests, this, go home, whereas they are feeding facts. They are buying jets for themselves. They are holding parties. They are drinking champagnes and drinking wine.
Nigerians come out to carry out their civic responsibilities. Do you all, right now, that's talking about the protest, what do you expect from the government?
I expect the government to do what is absolutely necessary by understanding that democracy is about the people. The people are saying that they are protesting against hardship and hunger. And I've said before that the greatest threat to national security is hunger and poverty. Go and check it anywhere. The greatest threat to national security is hunger and poverty. And if a government fails to address that, then it should be ready for whatever the consequences.
No, what do we expect to be on? Like when the people come out to protest now?
I have told you.
From the government playing their own role.
Good.
Now.
What the people want to see is the president himself, not Bayo Onanuga, not the FCT minister, not the minister for information. The president himself coming out, just like he said on the day he was sworn in, to say that subsidy is gone, to tell Nigerians that they've reduced, I don't know how they want to do it, that they've reduced the price of petrol to a rate that is very, very affordable and friendly to the pocket of Nigerians. And if it does so, it will dance the tension. Because like Nigeria as a country, everything we do revolves around petrol. If you reduce the cost of petrol today and start fixing our refineries, everything will...
economy, and can we have our refineries fixed now? Okay, let's hear you.
Well, the truth about it is that we have always been saying and advocating that one of the best ways to alleviate the sufferings of Nigerians is for government to play that second responsibility that has to do with the welfare of her citizens. Major responsibility of every responsible government is, one, protect life and properties. Number two, the welfare of the people. I've always been here saying that because of the economic policies of government not working effectively, we saw one again that the president tried to do by sharing rice. And it's not the solution. And I have always been here saying that we have the money. For instance, I always give instances. I said in Rivers State, the IGRO and federal allocation that Rivers State has every month is up to 45 billion naira. And our population is not up to 10 million. So if the governor of Rivers State choose to share 1 million naira to all Rivers people, I said my suggestion was, the economic solution I profiled was that northern Nigeria, the governors should give all her citizens 500,000 every 3 months. Southern Nigeria, the governor should give her citizens 1 million naira every 3 months.
And you don't see crippling the economy.
It will not, because we have the money. You have been using the money for all the while, and it's not affecting us positively. So we are saying, share the money. It's welfare. Give us part of it's our money. So let me use my own 1 million naira and go and buy 1 bag of rice, 100,000 in the market. Let me use part of my 1 million naira and provide the needed, commodities I need to survive.
But when we talked about increasing minimum wage to 70,000 naira, or okay, 200 and something thousand naira, like it was said before, a lot of people said if that is done, prices of goods and services in the market that we are complaining are already high will double or triple the price.
Yes, now
will be higher. So imagine now paying everybody 500,000 naira.
That's the question.
Don't you think that's going to have a negative effect on the
No. It will not. It will boost our economy. New businesses will start up. It was on that ideology that Mr. President is coming up with business loan. But we are not talking about the federal government now. We are saying the money in our state is our money. If we have 45 billion naira as Rivers State, and you share all citizens of Rivers State 1 million naira, you still have enough billions to continue with your project. Every 3 months.
They're saying monies that state governors are saying are not enough. That's what we're saying. Give the people.
Who is
and
it?
Then we'll still
Can my governor come out and tell me?
That's not the only governor in the
No.
You said in the north. You talked about the south.
Yes, of course. Can Delta State governor tell me that the billions he's having is not enough? He's a criminal if you say so.
Governors have
he cannot even say so. What I'm trying to say is that
during the talks about the minimum wage,
yes,
70,000 naira, governors, a lot of governors came out. They said that they cannot pay the minimum wage, so they don't want a situation where they would have to let go of some staff because they're not able to afford it. So if governors cannot afford to pay the minimum wage as little as that amount, let's look at the amount you're mentioning.
You see, if we sit down as Deltans or Rivers people or Bayelsans, I'm talking about Southern Nigeria now, we have 45 billion naira this month. Can we discuss how to use it? Governor tell me that that money will not be useful to us? Can he tell me that the money will not be enough? So when somebody is selfish and is sitting down telling me that the money is not enough because of your selfish reasons?
So when we talk about what should be done now, I know you have made mention of a lot of things that you want to see the president do. But you know, Ambassador Eke has always advocated for this, that money should be shared amongst Nigerians. But taking a look at it now, alright, he has his reasons and he has his thoughts. He has analyzed this thing. He can sit down and break it down for you, what he means and how it will help us. What are your thoughts on that? Do you see it crippling the economy? Is this something that governors can afford right now?
No, well, I want to respectfully disagree with the position of the ambassador. You see, I don't believe in sharing formula. It's not sustainable. If you give somebody 1 million today, I'm sure that the person will remember that for the past 6 months he has not drank a bottle of beer. He has not eaten chicken and eating salad and all of those things. I think the first thing the person will want to do is to have to start living a big life, and for me, that is not sustainable. I'm talking about something that can stand the test of time. And if we want to be sincere, as a government, because like you rightly said, both the state governments they also have responsibilities, and that's the plain truth. So, if we want something that is sustainable, we should start looking at how to create jobs for the people. We start looking at how to create an enabling environment for business to thrive. We start looking at how to provide security for farmers, so that farmers can easily go into their farms without being, without the fear of being kidnapped and being, killed. So these are the things that governments can do. But when we keep saying that, we have shared so and so amounts, we have shared so and so amount, just like what they are doing in the subsidy, which for me does not even make sense. It is completely unreasonable to say you remove subsidy to be sharing the money amongst the state governors and and the center, because you can't even account for what you claim that has been a means of embezzlement for a group of people. It still goes back to the pocket of the bourgeois, to the pocket of the aristocrats. This is Nigerian money, and we are saying that if you remove subsidy, if you have excess, those monies should be channeled into building our industries. These are the only things that can strengthen our economy. This is the only thing that can grow our GDP. This is the only thing that can give value to our currency. But if we say let us share the money to everybody, I can tell you for free that a vast majority of Nigerians won't get that money, because, like I said before, we don't even know how many we are in this country. Today we say we are 200 million, tomorrow we say we are 250 million, today tomorrow we say we are 180 million. You can see the back and forth we are going. So let us just not, rely too much on that, in as much as I know that people need money, but let us look at something that will be sustainable. That is why we are calling on government. That's why we are calling on government. Invest in infrastructure. If you do so, a lot of this agitation will be reduced to the barest minimum.
You see, yes, I think my brother has a point. You see, before we came up with this economic suggestion, it's because every promises of government has failed. The issue of job creation has
every promise that has failed.
On those regards. Now, we've been talking about employment, create enabling environment for over the decades. It has never worked. So why we are suggesting that Chair give us this 1 million naira so that I can go and start up a business for myself. I cannot create job for the job that government could not create. I can create it for myself. The means of livelihood government could not give me, I cannot have it for myself. So you end up creating more entrepreneurs, which will still pay taxes to government. Now, on the issue of drinking beer, go to the beer parlor. Even when they are not sharing money, people are still drinking beer. So it is not those who will not drink. So I don't think that
I don't think people will misuse.
No. I think yes. I think what we can only advocate is that if this money is going to be given to Nigerians, there should be a kind of entrepreneurship team that will ensure that people who want to go into business are guided and all of that. So we also appeal to ourselves when this money is given to you. For instance, if I have 1 million, like I mentioned to you, I can buy a bag of rice for 100,000. I can pay my NEPA bills. I can afford the little needs around me. And I can still start up a small-scale business. We didn't say all the months. We said every 3 months. And my advocacy has been that on every month that money is being paid, the commissioners will not be paid salary. Government workers will not receive salary. Traditional rulers will not. It is called state welfare month, where all citizens will have access to their common resources. 3 months. And then within 1 year, let us see how Nigerians will fare. So you can continue with that, your stories or policies, whatever you want to do, that you have been saying before, that we are seeing no result. If there was result, my brother, we will not be talking about protest. So give us that money. Since you have failed us, we can no longer survive with your own knowledge. Let what we know, let us now see how we can contribute with the money you give us. We'll use it to contribute to our welfare and contribute to the development of the state.
All right, at this point, we'll take some time off, just a few minutes, and then we'll be back to continue the show. The conversation is getting interesting. Please stay with us.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
I don't get a lot. Boy, they won't booga me small. They say, man, give them bribe. I say, nothing. Okay, now, we'll go block later. You remember that contract we will do that time now? They don't pay.
But first, you see the house rent with the old things. We go first call caretaker, take the money, slap am.
Beg, see, you know, say I get annual levy why they pay for club. Where me and boys they shark beer in our house, I could pay that one. You remember say me and tell you I go buy you motor. I go buy now.
Okay, they pay you money now. We don't they beg caretaker? Why would they beg landlord, old man, and they agree give us time? Money can't come now. You won't divert time. You said na corruption. Corruption, not in my house and not in my country.
Sure?
Sure.
Corruption, not in my country.
This message is brought to you by the Akinfade Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Back is still ATN Blowout right here on Atlantic Television Network. I still have my guest in the studio. It has been heated in the studio even during the break. We'll take the next story now. President Blowout has signed into law two significant bills that are aimed at accelerating development across the northwest and northeast geopolitical zones of the country. Now, the Northwest Development Commission Establishment Bill 2024 and the Southeast Development Commission Establishment Bill 2023 will facilitate reconstruction, rehabilitation, and tackling of environmental and development challenges in the respective regions. According to a statement that was issued by a special advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, the commissions will address issues such as infrastructure damages, poverty, literacy, ecological problems and environmental challenges, promoting equitable development and inclusive governance. What are your thoughts on this new Development Commission bill?
Well, in the country where you have a lot of jobless people, you must think of how to carry people along to survive economically. Because if you ask me, this commission the president is setting up is virtually what the state government should be doing.
Certainly.
So if you are setting up these commissions simply because you have NDDC, and then every zone want to have a commission for development, it's a wonderful thing. But ADB is going to be like a technical or resource team, commission or committee for these zones. That would have been wonderful. But now this commission will be empowered with resources. The government will still be stressed again to borrow more money to fund this commission.
Do you think we can't fund these commissions right now?
You see, when you are talking about helping and growing this economy that is almost dead, you should not be creating more avenues for expenditure. Rather, you should be creating avenues for revenues. So my appeal to Mr. President, even though me I'm looking for an appointment, it should not be the kind of commissions that will sap us right now. So, Mr. President, it's a good thought. Most of this commission that Mr. President comes up with is as a result of political pressure. His Excellency, I need something. His Excellency, we need this. Not because the president feels that they are necessary. So at a point, I will feel that there will be no need for state government. Rather, let us now begin to operate a commission-based nation, so that we understand that the state government do not really have what it takes to run the state. But I want to see that if we have effective state system, now good thing we have local government autonomy, government closer to the people. I want to believe that more resources should be given to state government, more resources should be given to the local government, and ensure the president should set up a monitoring, project monitoring and evaluation team, so that the federal government each month after the allocation, that monitoring team will be able to evaluate what the state governors, what the local government have used that money allocated to them for. So I want to think that most of these commissions, my brothers who are appointed into this board, I'm not against you. The way you are looking for appointment, I'm also looking for one. But all I'm only trying to say is that there are several boards, there are several commissions already that Mr. President can accommodate all of us that are looking for appointment. So not creating new ones. For instance, we talk about livestock commission, right? Just for cow and goats and all of that. I want to appeal to Mr. President to create a case commission too, so that I can get allocation to take care of those around me. So I think they are not necessary, to the best of my knowledge.
All right, let's get your thoughts, Mufasa.
Well, I won't agree less with the Ambassador Key. For me, we've had several commissions, we've had several agencies of government that have been lying fallow, and we're here to see the positive impact of all these multiplicity of commissions that will begin to spring up in this country. Like rightly said, some of these things are just means to patronize and reward political allies and cronies. Otherwise, like he also said, state governors were they're already in place, and they have responsibilities. I think rather than looking at or multiplying some of these agencies and commissions, I think the National Assembly should consider resource control, because if we have resource control where the states are allowed to generate revenue and pay royalty, or let's say pay how do you call it now? Okay, give the center part of what is due them, then use what you generate to develop your own state. I think it will also, rather than creating these commissions. In 2017, President Muhammadu Buhari, I think, created the Northeast Development Commission. That one is there. Funding is going into that one. We are not even seeing anything, like a day-to-day or monthly or biannual or annual, account of what they've achieved so far. We have the NDDC that was created by Olusegun Obasanjo, and it has become, a center where funds are siphoned. You could still remember the forensic audit saga and off the mic saga and all of that. So for me, we need to be sincere. We need to be honest with Nigerians. If we want to bring development to the people, let us try to do it in such a way and manner that the people are in the best position to benefit them more, rather than their political friends and cronies.
All right, let's look at this next story now. This statement by the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, where he said that Nigeria is not just catching up with the rest of the world when it has to do with technology, but we are also poised to overtake the global economy. He stated this on Tuesday when he unveiled the AI Expertise Blockchain and Technology Training and Outsourcing Initiative in Dutse Jigawa State. Now, the initiative was launched at the Yakubu Gowon NYC Orientation Camp, a suburb of Dutse, was part of Nigeria's strategy for digital transformation and leadership in Africa. Let's look at our technological space now. How much are we doing? We've been calling for more, and this is a step towards that. And now it has been stated, Kashim Shettima has told us that Nigeria is ready to overtake global economy as regards technology. Yes, Ambassador Ike.
Well, he's entitled to his opinion, and I know the Vice President is a very intelligent man, and is very intentional in developing the northern Nigeria, which is very wonderful. When he talks about Nigeria is about to overtake the world technologically, I'm here to understand the platform he's talking about. The training of Nigerians, I think, is a good one, but I felt I would have understood that our Ajokuta steel is now working, another new industrial outfit of government being evolving. Talking about technology, yes, it's not wrong, because we have so many Nigerians that are alleged to be Yahoo boys and girls now globally. So we are very much good in technology in that regard. But when it has to do with technology in developing this country, I don't really understand when our technology cannot curb our insecurity. The insecurity is growing. Developed nations and developing nations use the technology to reduce and address their insecurity. So until I begin to see our technology begin to help us to cure our insecurity, cure our economic backwardness, cure our poor educational system, cure our corruption system, then I will understand that what Mr. President is saying is very, very realistic. Yes, the Vice President is saying. Right. But hence, is a religious person. He could be prophesying, or he could be speaking based on faith. He's an optimist. So I am also an optimist. So I want to believe with my Vice President that very soon Nigeria will overtake other nations of the world.
Well, he said futuristically we can, project that one day will overtake, the global community in terms of technology. For me, there's nothing wrong, like he has said, to align with the rest of the world, to go completely digital. And what we also want to see is not be talking all the time. We talk too much in this country. We want to see actionable plans. You cannot be talking about AI, you're not talking about digital technology without addressing the issue we have in power. Technology revolves around power, electricity. There are communities you go today in this country that have not seen power since the day that community was formed. This is 21st century jet age. So in line with his projections, I think there are things that needed to be put in place. I've already said before that a lot of these criminalities that we experience in this country can be curbed drastically with improved technology. We're talking about installing what they call CCTV cameras technology, even street lights. These are things that can help to reduce crime and criminality. But when you want to put the cart before the horse, you may likely not be able to achieve anything. So, by and large, I commend the fact that we are gradually looking at the technological angle in the scheme of things. But let us be sincere. When I mean sincere, let us also know that you cannot be talking about technology without addressing the issues of power.
All right, let's look at Meta platforms now, saying that they have removed about 63,000 accounts just in Nigeria that attempted to engage in financial sexual extortion scams, mostly aimed at adult men in the United States. Now, the majority of the scammers' attempts were unsuccessful, and although mostly targeting adults, there were also attempts against minors, which Meta reported to the U.S. National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, according to reports. Now, Meta representatives said this was not the first time they have disrupted such networks, but added that they were disclosing the current operation to drive awareness. The social media giant has been on the defense in recent years as governments, including legislators in the U.S., where Meta is based, have ramped up pressure on it to address concerns that its executives have ignored evidence that its services harm children. Now, Nigeria, in the international space, a lot of countries, what I'm trying to say is a lot of countries see us in this light, in not so good light. And this story again being out there is another way or another means whereby we will be seen in a not so good light. So as a people now, how can we put an end to this situation? Or let's get your thoughts in general and then you tell us what you think we can do right now.
Well, I think this is bad publicity for Nigeria as a country at a time where we are trying to launder our image both domestically and, of course, in the international arena. But I also want to equally look at what could have even make somebody to want to, take the life of crime, because something must have inspired such. I'm not trying to endorse it, but let us look at the root cause. Most of our young people, what they see as a way of life now is, internet scam, and, with situation where even parents are even encouraging their wards to go into it. So for me, I think this is a call for all and sundry, the leadership and the led. Let us see how we can, reduce this bad image that has been sold outside the country. If you go outside the country today, you identify yourself as a Nigerian, there's a way they look at you, this, Yahoo and all of that. So for me, it's not a good one. I hope that this would make us sit up and try to see how we can adjust and, start doing things rightly in this country.
Ambassador.
Well, I think it calls for the government to look into such allegation because it has to do with the character and the integrity of Nigeria as a country. And most times what some nations of the world have done is to see how they blackmail Nigeria. There are efforts intentionally to ensure that Nigeria do not develop. Nigeria should not get the pride it ought to have at global economic states.
So this is looking like a sabotage.
Well, it's possible. So the character assassination could be responsible for that. So many things goes on global politics. So I like to feel that it's not a statement that the government of Nigeria should take lightly. They should look into it.
About Dangote and what is going on in Nigeria and the investment in another country now. The chairman of Dangote Industries Limited, Aliko Dangote, has been invited by President Brice Oligui of Gabon to invest in cement and fertilizer production in the country. And the media office of Dangote has said this on Tuesday, and then the president of Gabon has told us how this will get to impact his country if this is done, because this is an investment opportunity that Dangote obviously from report is ready and willing to embrace. Ambassador.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
30 seconds.
Yes, you can only invest where your investment is safe. And with what Dangote is already going through in the oil sector investment, I think I want to commend him. He's a man of vision.
But what does this mean for Nigeria now?
You cannot, business has nothing to do with ethnicity or nationality. If your business will not strive in your locality, there is nothing wrong going outside where it is safe. You can still generate a successful business and come to help your country. So you cannot say I must invest in my village when my villagers don't want my business to grow. So there's nothing wrong about it.
For me, it sends a wrong signal to the global community in terms of business world. And if Dangote does not find his own country conducive enough to invest, and other countries are inviting him to come and do business, then what does that tell other people who would want to come into this country to invest? For me, it's not a good one for Nigeria. It's a good one for Gabon, and I would want our own system, to look at this kind of, arrangement and see how to make things better for businesses to thrive in this country. So I won't say much. Dangote is a businessman. He's at liberty to do his business wherever he feels that his business is safe and protected.
All right, thank you so much, Professor Imosad, for your thoughts on the show today.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me.
And we also appreciate you, Ambassador Ikea. Thank you for coming.
My pleasure, always.
And we must also thank you for being a part of this conversation. Because of you, it was successful. And this is where we get to wrap things up on this episode of ATN Blowout. Don't forget that we are open for sponsorship and partnership. Stay connected with us on Facebook and YouTube at Atlantic Television Network, on Instagram and TikTok at Atlantic TV Network 1, and on X at Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website at www.atlanticnetwork.tv. Remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching. I am Enidoye Jack. Coming up next is Open Conversation. Stay with us.
From the line across the ocean and beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, social economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the